we haven't been here on YouTube in a while. Was doing it every day for probably 2 or 3 months straight, and just got really tired of it, and honestly couldn't think of more things to talk about. So took a big break. That was in April, so it's been almost a full year now. Um, Now that War Games is fully kicked off, that thing is rolling. I wanted to get back out here and kind of talk about some of the things that I'm doing with that. So topic of today is basically where does USA weightlifting fall short on helping coaches be able and be prepared to coach a weightlifting meet. So I took my level one back in 2019-ish, probably 2018, sometime in there. So about 7-ish years ago. So took that in 2018, 2019, took my level two last year in April, got my level three in June right after that. So I've taken the level two fairly recently. Level one was a while ago. My level one and my level two were both online. So that may throw off some of what I'm going to say. So there may be a little bias in here. Maybe the online isn't as good. Maybe the in person has such a different experience. But from what I've seen, at least the online is going to be by far the most accessible way because it's online. So we should probably have the online at the same standard as the in person. So um, basically, when I went through it, the level one feels much more like a weightlifting for sports performance, not necessarily a level one for weightlifting. So most of what you're talking about, most of what you're learning is basically how to snatch, how to clean, how to jerk, how to program. Not much more beyond that. It's essentially how can a strength coach who's at like a division one or collegiate setting or somewhere else take what they're learning and apply that. Not necessarily anything about the sport of weightlifting, more so the weightlifting movements. So should really be a weightlifting for sports performance rather than a level one weightlifting. But beside the point, the level two is then where that falls of, hey, here is everything you need to know to be a weightlifting coach. Already, I think that's an error because level one, level two both cost 500 a piece. So the level two is really like, hey, this is what you need to know to coach weightlifting. Just myself, like I really didn't have a reason I wanted to get the level two. Like the only reason I got my level two was because I was about to achieve the rank of national coach and I needed my level two to accept that distinction. So I took that just purely so I could receive my level three. But the level two, honestly, needs to be like a, hey, you're in your first year of coaching. This is what you need to know. Because it goes into a lot more depth about actually what coaches need to know if you're coaching these sports. But it falls very, very, very far short in terms of actual competition coaching. So when we were going through the online level two, we spent basically half of it just recapping level one. Like there were so many people on there who had no idea what was going on. Spent half that class going over level one. We spent probably a max of 30 minutes actually talking about what a competition is like, how to count cards, things of that nature, which is nowhere near enough. Like the thing is, no matter how much you learn in a classroom setting, you will not be prepared to count cards in actual meet. Like I learned how to count cards originally from Greg Everett's book. My very first meet I ever did, I had to coach myself. So read that book, did me fairly well. From there, when I actually became a coach and started coaching people in like 2019, 2020-ish, I fucked up a lot. And that's how I learned to count is I did it. I messed up. I learned from my mistakes. I continued on there. Eventually, come 2022, I think 2021, I was an athlete for Power and Grace. I had the ability to learn under Spencer. So learned under Spencer Arnold. That was a great way to actually take, all right, here's all the fuck ups I've done. Here's actually a professional level, Olympic level, 2-time Olympic level coach helping me go through the process. So I learned a lot from that, helped me with my mistakes, but reality is not many people are going to have that opportunity to learn from someone of that caliber of coach. So assuming that most people won't have access to that, the level two or any of the USA weightlifting certifications need to do a much, much, much better job of teaching the coach how to do the best job they can to get their athletes to peak performance. Because that's all we're doing. If a coach cannot count well, then no matter how prepared their athlete is for that competition, they will not be able to do their peak performance because the coach can't put them into the area that they need to succeed. If they're ready to hit 100 kilos, but they just ended up sitting for 6 minutes, or they just hit an attempt and they have to go out and take it, they're fucked. They're not going to hit 100 kilos just simply because the coach needs to be able to put the athlete in position to do their best. And we can't do that if we don't know how to count. So I know very many coaches who teach the level two in person and they spend hours, if not the entire day, on competition counting, which is amazing. And I'm super thankful for them and they're doing a great job. Steven Butcher is one of them who's told me that specifically, and I know he's doing a great job with that. I just know the product is not constant across all of USA weightlifting because I've seen it myself in the online level too. So we spent maybe 30 minutes going over just the concept of counting cards. But the thing is, even just going through that level two, learning about it, you can't actually understand how to count when the full on stressful scenario comes up of a competition without practice. And ideally, we want to mess up in real life situations as little times as possible. Mistakes are a great attempt to learn, and failure is a great way to learn. But the more failures and more mistakes you have, it could bite your athlete basically in the ass. It could be a negative on your athlete. So, coaches need a way to practice how to count, practice the competition scenarios without all the stress and all of the high pressure that goes along with that. So, that's basically where USA weightlifting falls short. And that basically is why I created War Games. So, with Power and Grace, I started with Power and Grace 3 years ago now. So basically 3 years ago, Spencer had this Excel document and we would go through and we would actually play a competition scenario against each other in Excel. And it was awesome. It was just super fucking hard to do because it was all in Google Sheets or Excel, wherever it was. It just was not the most feasible thing to do. So in about June of last year, I started the process of creating what is now War Game. So created a short little Python script to run just a competition scenario, and it worked. And I basically didn't know what to do from there. I'm like, all right, cool, I can run it in Python. Like that's super easy. Like I'm basically done. I was nowhere close to done. We are now 6 months past then, and there's still much more work to be put in. But it all started with the concept of, hey, competition counting is a very important skill to put your athletes in the best scenario to succeed. And that's all we should do as coaches is put our athletes in the best scenario to succeed. So if our skills are not ready to go, the athlete is getting a disservice from us. So USA weightlifting falls short because they don't really give coaches that opportunity to practice counting and go through those mistakes without the stress of competition. And there's really not much way to learn how to do it, again, unless you find a mentor, unless you just really go deep in Everett's book over and over and over. But again, you need the reps, you need to learn, you need to do the mistakes so that you can learn how to do it. So that's where War Games comes in. You can go through the website. There's 3 different modes you can play in competition. You can do speed run, where you're just clicking that next button. You can check your count. You can see how the competition plays out. You can say, all right, we're 20 out from our first attempt. You can go through and see, oh shit, we were actually only 12 out. Where did I fuck up? What happened in this competition simulation where I could have done better or where I needed to make adjustments? You can play competition mode, where it actually has declarations, it has attempts, it has a timer and everything for every single NPC, all the computer characters, and for yourself. So you can go through and you can play a full-on competition. It won't take 2 hours, but it'll still take a fair amount of time because you're playing a true competition. Newest thing we added to is a speed run mode, but for actual national competition. So right now it's up on the website for AO finals. I took everyone from the entry list, all 870 people, give or take, across all 69 sessions, 23 for red, white, and blue platforms, 69 sessions. And then I pulled every single one of those 870 participants, pulled their best snatch, best clean and jerk from the past year, compiled all that together, put it into the sessions. You can go in onto the website, play AO finals, any session that has actually happened against the actual people that actually happened, and very close to the weights that actually happened. And you can play against those same scenarios. So you can see, we just did this the other night with Power and Grace. We went through the 59 kilo A session. It was, I think, session 12 on the blue platform. There were about 10 of the 13 girls who were all taking 80. So it's like, shit, we're going to have a long time. Like, what did we do? And that was probably one of our hardest sessions to coach at finals. So we went back through and we actually played play by play. All right, here is what is happening. What do we do in this scenario? Here's what we did actually in real life. What could we have done differently based off of what we learned from there? And how can we adjust it now from what we're seeing? So the entire goal with War Games is simply just to get coaches all of those reps without the possibility of it harming the athlete. So we're back on YouTube. I'm going to try to do this consistently for at least once a week now, because it is going to take some time to actually edit these. These aren't just quick little 2-minute clips that I was doing before, just ranting in my car and just hitting upload and go. We're actually going to put some thought and effort into this. So hope y'all enjoyed episode 1.